Today is December 2nd, 2014. My name is Breon, and I'm interviewing Ms. York at the Parthenon. All right, so first question would be, tell me about your occupation.
I am faculty advisor for the Parthenon, the student newspaper here at Marshall.
Okay. And how long have you been in this line of work?
I have been at Marshall, I realized it'll be 17 years in January. And now I've been in this position this is my third year.
Third year?
Yeah.
It doesn't get boring?
No.
Not at all?
No. Every day is different. Every semester there's a different group of students. Every year, there's new stories, new things. Working in media in general is always exciting.
Okay, and what inspired you to choose this career? What made you want to be in the Parthenon and writing papers and things like that?
Well, that's not where I started thinking I wanted to do. I started out as an advertising major. And then that led me to working in media. And then, that's anything in media where everything's fast moving and every day's different. That's what made me want to do this. And so I originally started here at Marshall as the advertising manager for the Parthenon.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the faculty advisor position opened, I thought I just kind of gave it a shot. And that's what got me here. So I'm very passionate about the newspaper and about student media in general.
So was this a part of your original plan? Was this what you wanted to be?
No.
Not at all?
No. Actually, I never expected that I would be teaching. That is something that just, after I started working here, I started working on my master's degree. And after I got that, I started teaching adjunct. And it was that first time in the classroom I remember thinking, I can do this. And I love it. And so at that point, I think I was like, okay, I want to do this full time. I want to teach full time. And, getting to work with media is just kind of an added bonus to that too.
So looking as a student, me as a student now, what kind of education would I need? Do I need just associates, bachelors, or do I need a teaching degree since you was a teacher as well?
I have a master's degree,
mm-hmm.
and that's required for this position. I also have professional experience,
okay.
And that's important too, so that I can bring experience into the classroom and into the Parthenon. I am, for any college professor, preferably they like to have a PhD, mm-hmm. And so right now I'm researching PhD programs to see if that's something that I'll start in the next few years. So that's the plan. So preferably, most college professors have a PhD, but I'm kind of in a professional also kind of position as well. So.
And that was one of your goals. That's something that you wanted to do, to achieve your PhD in this specific department.
It wasn't originally, but I guess now it is. It would be kind of cool to be called Dr. York. Come on.
So, one of the questions that's big for me is, if you could go back, would you choose the same career or a different career?
Absolutely the same. I can't see doing anything different. And like I said, I didn't start out thinking that I was going to teach college. And so maybe I would have tailored a little more to that. Maybe, paid more attention in research and statistics. But I was more, and we're lucky. In this field, we get to, all of us as professors here do what we teach and have done what we teach. So, but I maybe would have, like I said, focused a little more on the education part if I had realized I wanted to be a college professor.
So why would you choose the same career though?
I love it.
Because my thing is, the thing that I'm afraid of is that it will become boring in the future, Because
Never.
It's the same thing every day.
Not media. Media is never boring. Every day is different. If you work at a newspaper or at a TV station, what you do, you can't even plan tomorrow because you have no clue where the news is going to take you tomorrow.
Okay.
And so that's where I'm lucky working with student media. We don't know, something huge could happen in the next 5 minutes and it could just blow the whole day.
Right.
And so that's what I love about it. Every day is different, and looking 5 years ahead, we don't even know. Sky's the limit, what we'll be doing.
So I wanted to see if you could take me through a typical day in your job and describe what a typical day is like working here?
Well, typically, I am kind of unusual from a lot of other faculty that I work, 12-month, and I come in at 8:30, and I leave at 4:30 or sometimes later. I mean, last night I was here till like 7:30. But typically I come in, check my email, which is probably what everybody does, and I prep for class on class days. Now, since my other half of my job is student media, if something's happening, I also have to kind of wrangle the students. I have to, who's covering this, who's taking photos, who's doing this, and kind of get the editors all around something. So for the most part, a good group of editors does that on their own, with me just kind of advising. But sometimes I'm right there in the middle with them. I mean, there are times, especially at the beginning of the school year, I'm designing pages, I'm writing leads, I'm writing headlines right out there with them. So, so my typical day can just totally just flip upside down because I also work with media. So that's pretty cool.
So would you say that you come in here with like a well-organized plan, or no?
Well, somewhat. On busy days, of course, I have to be pretty organized because I know where I'm going to be at certain times. On some days, like I will plan, yesterday was a day, I planned to grade all day. I probably really got 2 hours of grading in the whole day. And so at midnight last night, I was grading. And that's,
you were up at midnight.
Yeah. I'm up late too because the Parthenon doesn't go to press until midnight. So right. I stay in contact with the editors all evening. I mean, even if I'm not sitting here, I'm in contact with them all the time. So I'm always up at midnight.
Okay, so one big question that I had also would be, what stories do you choose to do? Like, what type of stories do you guys choose to do?
Well, of course, Marshall is our main focus, like any stories that's pertaining to Marshall, anything interesting to Marshall students, and then also Huntington.
Like a big football game.
Big football game
that we lost.
Right.
It was a big thing for the newspaper.
Yeah. And so, we knew that we had reporters there, we had photographers there, and then we have people ready to put all that online. We have someone there live tweeting the game. Mm-hmm. So we have to organize all around that. So yeah, football, and this weekend, we've already got our press credentials in. We know who's going to be where for Saturday's game. So that's big news for us.
And how has this occupation changed since you have been in it, and how do you think it will change in the future?
Ooh. Well, two things is, I'm lucky because I do get to work with student media. So thinking about student media, it has changed. I remember when I first started here, when we first launched the Parthenon website.
Right.
And the Parthenon was the first in the state of West Virginia to have a website, the first newspaper. But now, we've gone so much farther. We have all this social media, and we have all these people that have to run all that, and all the editors have to know how to do it, and that could totally just fly in a different direction in 5 years. And I expect it to. As far as being an instructor and advising the Parthenon, I have to try to be one step ahead of that.
Okay.
What's coming up. And that's something that I spend a lot of time doing is what's the next big thing.
Okay, and would you recommend this career to others, specifically me? Why or why not?
Teaching or being a journalist?
Being a journalist.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so much fun. And every day is different. It's fast-paced, and it's just exciting. It's an exciting career. If you don't want to sit behind a counter or behind a desk all day, it's a great career. You're out. You're meeting people. It's so much fun.
So what advice would you give me for being able to be in this career?
For being a journalist, write and read. Read everything you can get your hands on. Read the news, read books, read websites, read everything that you can possibly get your hands on, because the best writers also read. And that's what I say. If you're going to be, and of course it doesn't matter if you want to be in broadcast or online or public relations or what, all of that involves writing. That is the base of communication. So a good writing skills is most important.
And what was the difficulties? Like what have been like the biggest obstacle you had to overcome while working in this career? Because I'm asking that mainly because if I want to pursue this career, I want to know what stepstones do I have to go through before I become as successful as you.
Be ready to take risks. You'd be surprised. I was actually kind of shy in high school. And so I had to get out of that. That was probably one big obstacle. You have to go out and you have to talk to people that you don't know. You have to ask people questions that you don't want to ask. And you have to do that without fear. And so that's really something. I mean, you have to just be able to just take those risks, just walk right into something that you're not comfortable with. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you become. And so I think going out and talking to people as a journalist, then also as a I did sales for a while for media, got me out of that kind of shy, maybe even self-conscious phase. And so that you've got to be able to jump through those kind of hoops.
But how do you think that that works individually or specifically has impacted your life?
Well,
maybe on the shy, like since you were shy before, it impacted you that way, or did it impact you in another way?
It impacted me that way. Of course, like, you know, the career pushed me out of that box, made me do what maybe wasn't comfortable for me. Right. And so I would have never been able to stand in front of a class and teach, you know, then. And now I don't think twice about it. I mean, I don't think twice about getting in front of an auditorium and doing a presentation. And so I think being in sales and a journalist also, those two things helped me through that. Yeah, that's important.
That is important. And my final question to close would be, what have I not asked you that you would like to add about your career or how it impacted your life or obstacles faced?
Of course, you know, one thing about journalism as a career, doesn't pay well.
Really?
And it requires a lot of passion. Well, some pays well. Matt Lauer probably makes a whole lot of money. But a freelancer for, you know, a little local paper probably does not. So there's a big difference, and I think you have to push yourself. If you want to be in that top, you just have to push, and you have to think outside the box, and you have to think, you know, critically. You have to try and do something different. Tell the story in a way that nobody else has ever heard it.
Okay.
So that's, you know, that's something that you need to do.
Is that difficult? Oh, is that really difficult to think outside of the box, or would you say that it's just more of your own mentality?
I think it's your own mentality. If you do a lot of reading and you see what's being done, it's going to come to you. Like, oh, here's another way that story could have been told. I would have told it this way, or what if they could have done this? And so that's what gets you the best storytelling, is trying to think of other ways to tell the story, different ways.
So like
everybody has a story.
Would you say like other people's mind? Like you got to think of it not just from your point of view, but others as well.
Right. From the viewer, your audience. You're always having to think of your audience. So yeah, how's this going to be perceived, and how's this going to impact people?
Thank you, and I appreciate this interview with you in this short time notice. Miss Saunders. I'm just kidding. I'm cutting that.
Okay.
However, thank you, and enjoy your day.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
If you have time, you can come back and get the